Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Hey there, sinners and saints. It's your favorite Bible-bashing duo from Sacrilegious Discourse, and we need your help.
That's right, folks. We're raising funds for some heavenly equipment and a studio that doesn't sound like it's in the depths of hell.
Our current setup, let's just say it's more apocalypse than audiophile.
So if you want to hear us dissect the Bible without the background noise of demonic squirrels, chip in a few bucks.
We're aiming for $5,000 to upgrade our audio and build a studio worthy of blasphemous banter.
Donate today and help us spread the good word of atheism.
You can find a link right on our homepage, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. Every dollar counts.
Even if it's from your collection plate. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what we're doing today?
Well, today we're wrapping up the book of Micah.
That is correct.
Yes, that is.
That is what we're doing.
Yes.
And are you ready to do that? Do you remember anything about that, dude?
I don't. It's we've been absent for a while, and I'd like to re-acknowledge when we do our acknowledgments of patrons during our regular episodes, like the book. So
the
chapters. We will be getting to that. We've just been life is we're falling behind a little bit, so
we're just doing these as we can, one at a time, plugging away.
But I want to acknowledge one more time. Thank you all for contributing over the last weeks, months, whatever, years for some of you. So thank you so much for your support.
Yes.
And that being said, you ready to get into this?
Sure as fuck am.
Let's do this.
Okie dokie. Hey, let's talk about Micah, babe. What do you think?
I think we should never do that again.
Oh, okay. Probably. Do you know who Micah was?
He was a minor prophet.
He was a minor prophet.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I mean, yeah.
He was a prophet during the reigns of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah.
I will say this. There was a lot of precursor shit to the Bible, like to the
New Testament, yeah.
That I feel like was injected into the New Testament because of whatever.
Well, we'll get there.
It is what it is.
We'll get there in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll get there in a minute.
All right.
Anyway, he was a minor prophet during the reigns of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah.
You know, I wonder if we went back in time and we're like, dude, you only made it to the minor prophets. How do you feel about that?
How do you feel about that, bro? He would have been a contemporary of Hosea, or as I like to call him, Hosehead.
Right.
And Isaiah. And I don't think I had a nickname for Isaiah.
Not that I can recall, but...
Izzy, bum, bum. I don't know. It just came out. No. Too late. All right. So the text mentions nothing about my dude's familial background. So we don't know anything about him. But it does say his place of origin.
Okay.
Morsheth.
Okay.
And that was in the first verse. And Morsheth was a place about 22 miles away from Jerusalem. So he's like, Big J, what up?
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unlike prophets such as Isaiah and Hosehead, no record of his father's name has been retained. So that's why he's minor. Everybody's like, who dey?
Can't prove who he is.
Who dey? No day.
We don't know his father. We don't know anything about him.
He doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Interesting little tidbit. We've covered this before. His name, Micah, hi, Micah low. How does that thing go?
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, kind of.
Okay.
But I can't recall.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those, like, back in the 80s when we were kids things that dads did or
was
something.
I felt like it was from a movie, but I can't remember exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We have a listener that would probably be able to tell us on the spot, so I'm depending on them to tell us.
Right.
Anyway, dude's name means who is like Yahweh. And that foreshadows the book's climactic declaration in Micah chapter 7, verse 18. Who is a God like you, pardoning iniquity and passing over transgression? So it's like, who's like you? God's like you. Micah like you like you.
Got it.
I don't know.
Got it.
This rhetorical flourish encapsulates the core of Micah's message.
Okay.
Which is this. Ready?
I'm ready.
Divine justice is tempered by mercy. That's the message we're supposed to take from this overall, okay?
That's the message I have not taken at all from the Old Testament.
Ever.
Yes.
Divine
there is
justice,
always,
kiss my ass.
he always leaves a remnant, right? It's always a remnant.
That's not divine justice.
No. Yeah, he is so terrible
That's
to
not
people.
Mercy.
And then he's like, but I'm going to leave some of you alive.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck, man?
That's neither divine justice nor mercy.
Anybody who solves their problems by murdering lots of people...
And then says, be grateful.
They're problematic at the very least.
Right?
You know? I'm just saying, we have a word for that in our society, and it's called a criminal.
Well...
A really bad criminal, actually.
Domestic abuse is very similar to this, where the husband knows not to leave black eyes, so he punches you in the kidneys and says, be grateful that I didn't... leave bruises on your face.
Yeah.
What?
We're supposed to love the fact that he didn't kill everybody.
Right.
What? It doesn't. That whole concept to me is just alien. Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't really want to understand it fully.
What if you killed nobody?
Right.
I mean, what if you, okay, I'm not saying that everybody should get to live forever, the end, okay? We're literally watching a show right now where nobody dies, right? And, that's problematic on its own. Yeah. Okay? So I'm not saying... let's have nobody die ever. But how about if God doesn't just wave his hand and wipe out swaths of whole people?
Right.
You know?
Especially without talking to them. You don't talk, you talk to one person, you talk to a prophet.
Prophet.
And then you're like, you have to know that prophet is telling you what I said, right?
Trust the prophet.
But you don't tell the actual people, hey, I'm God, you should do these things.
They don't glow or anything. They're not magically special. They don't have glitter on them or something that sets them apart.
If you're going to murder people over the things that they're doing wrong, then you should have a direct message telling them what they are doing wrong.
Get out your microphone. You're God.
Yeah.
Do better.
Right?
You know?
I mean, shit, you don't even have to talk. If you just if you imprinted the laws of whatever on a rock in front of me while I was standing there, I'd totally be like, fuck.
I mean, okay, how about in The Wizard of Oz when the witch flew in the sky and her broomstick had smoke coming out the back and she spelled out surrender Dorothy?
Right.
And nobody ever knew if it was supposed to have a comma and be like, surrender, Dorothy. Right. Hey, Dorothy, surrender. Or if she was telling the people of the Emerald City to give her up, give up, Dorothy, surrender her to me.
Right. Yeah.
Even that was questionable, but she's not God. She's just a witch.
She is.
Right? God would have told you.
But she gave a direct message.
Yeah.
Through smoke in the sky.
Yeah. And that comma was you know what? It doesn't matter if she's speaking directly to Dorothy or the people. The fact of the matter is she wants Dorothy. We all get that.
There are people today that call themselves prophets. And I don't believe a fucking one of them. There's some online preacher types that are
they call themselves prophets?
They do.
I need to start seeking these people out and having one-on-ones with them because that is heretical. That is false. You're a false prophet.
Well, they're actually gaining some popularity. There's some people that are online that call themselves prophets and they're gaining some popularity.
That's false.
Why?
Well, then I'm a prophet.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
I'm a prophet.
Right. That's the whole point. If anybody just
gets to be a prophet, I'm a prophet.
But
do you want to be a prophet?
They're claiming that God is speaking through them. Are you claiming that God is speaking through you?
Absolutely. I don't believe in God, so sure he is. Do you want to be a prophet with me?
I don't, actually.
You can be pretend God is speaking to me and he told me you're a dipshit.
No, I don't want to do that.
I want to do that. I really want to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You can prophesize in your spare time.
I want to be a witch. I'm going to be a false prophet.
You can be the witch of Endor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the witch of Dayton. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm going to be and God told me some things. And you know how I know it's true? Because God can talk to the dead and God can talk to witches because he spoke to the witch of Endor. That's how she made it into the Bible.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about some historical context here.
Okay.
Of this book itself.
Got it.
Okay. Parts of the book were likely written between 735 and 700 BCE during a time of great prosperity in Jerusalem, especially under the rule of one of Judah's better kings, Hezekiah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, they faced some threats from other kingdoms, such as
the Assyrians.
Yes, that's right, Assyria. Considering the northern kingdom fell to Assyrian forces in 722 BCE, this would have been at the forefront of Micah's mind.
Absolutely.
So he's like, fuck me.
Yeah.
As he lived in the southern kingdom and would have witnessed the carnage. So he saw all this happening and was like, now's my chance. I can be a false prophet. Aware of the social ills of his day, Micah did not want the southern kingdom to end up in the same state as the north.
Sure.
So that
and
makes
of
sense.
course, everything that is happening in the world, they blame on not following God's word or whatever.
It's all
right?
political.
Well,
And it's all
it is
geographic.
political, but they blame it on supernatural forces, right? If you're worshiping the wrong, like that's what prophets do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're your bridge between what is actual and what you need to do to make
Lead
it
the
not
people.
happen. Right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, whether he believed it or not, he was definitely politically motivated to, get the
I
people
feel that
to
way
not behave.
Yeah, I feel that way about most of the prophets.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel that way about
specifically-
all of them.
Specifically, some more than others. But
Sure.
I mean, I think Jeremiah was one of the biggest ones that I felt was very
Was
political.
he the one that we thought was the double agent?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he had the I can't remember his name now, but the his
The guard of the other team.
his like scribe person.
Oh, yeah.
that had a name in the Bible too.
Okay,
I can't remember his name now.
Well, we're going to read his book, Baruch.
Yeah, Baruch. Yeah, that's it.
Are you impressed that I knew that
That was
guy?
good, yeah.
You know why I remember him? Because he has a song with him. Baruch, Baruch, Baruch is on fire.
After we said his name, I recalled that, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so since Micah likely wrote some portions of this book prior to Hezekiah's reign, he would have been under the rule of a wicked king like Ahaz.
Wicked. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yep.
And this would have been from 2 Kings, that time frame, okay?
Okay.
Who subjected himself to be a vassal of Assyria. Remember?
Oh, okay.
So that's what made him wicked. He was like, fuck this. I give up. We're going to pay tribute to Assyria now.
Well, yeah, and I don't know that that's wicked. Like, you're just seeing the forces that are coming down on you, and you're like, I don't know that we have
I would like my people to not be smited by
Right.
the Assyrians. So we're going to pay taxes to them now. They win.
Yeah.
And we live.
Yeah.
So we win too.
Right.
Look how everybody wins.
Right.
It's good to be the king. Instead of trusting in God, if they would have just trusted in God. Oh, but they also practiced idol worship and tore down elements of God's temple. Boo.
Okay.
Bad Jewish people. They
Right.
did bad just then.
Yeah.
Okay. This corresponds to the period when, after a long period of peace, Israel, Judah, and the other nations of the region came under increasing pressure from the aggressive and rapidly expanding Neo-Assyrian Empire.
Sure.
So, I mean, they didn't have a lot of choices.
Well, we talked about a lot through this book because, there's a lot of references to things that didn't actually transpire. Mm-hmm. And they pushed them off to the Babylonian exile.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait a second. Just because it didn't happen when it should have happened doesn't mean you get to just pick another time period when it did.
Well, sure it does. Sure it does. That's how prophecies work.
I guess.
You just roll them over like minutes
but
on
you
a cell phone.
you only get to call them prophecies after the fact, right? Like, you don't know it's a prophecy until it came true.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, there's the prophecy. See, look, it happened.
Well, what you gonna do?
And then even more than that, you get to like write a book years later called the New Testament, and you're like, we're just going to make these prophecies have happened?
We're going to flip through the old one, and we're going to be like, that one didn't make it, that one didn't make it, that one. Okay, here's what we need to do to make these ones make it. Ready?
Right, yeah.
Go. So between 734 and 727 BCE, Tiglath-Pileser III, remember that guy, of Assyria, conducted almost annual campaigns in that area. So, I mean, every year he was coming in and fighting everybody.
Yeah.
So, like, you sucked it if you weren't them.
Right.
Okay. He reduced the kingdom of Israel, the kingdom of Judah, and the Philistine cities to vassalage.
Okay.
He received tribute from Ammon, Moab, and Edom.
Okay.
And he absorbed Damascus, which was the kingdom of Aram, into the empire.
Got it.
So, I mean...
So he was quite a force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
And the fact that Jerusalem didn't get taken over by this guy during this time frame is saying something about their ability to negotiate and withstand this. Yeah.
I would say negotiation's better than fighting, because if they were just fighting, they would have got knocked out like the rest.
Well, and I don't know the actual history of it, but maybe they had some sort of a deal with like the Egyptians, and they were like an outpost for the Egyptians to keep the Assyrians from getting closer to Egypt or whatever. Right. I don't know who they were working with, but there was a lot of connections between Egypt and Jerusalem.
That is true.
In those time frames. So that could have been something that was happening as well.
It could have been all of the above.
Right. Yeah. Again, this is where...
But God didn't help them.
No.
No, God left them to flounder because they didn't trust God.
Right.
They made their own way.
But this is where I would love to do like a separate series that kind of digs into the actual history that is surrounding these events in the Bible.
Like,
because
what was
it's just
Egypt
really,
up to at this time?
It intrigues me.
Yeah.
Right.
No, totally agree. So on Tiglath-Pileser's death, Israel rebelled, resulting in an Assyrian counterattack and the destruction of the capital, Samaria, in 721 BCE after a 3-year siege.
Okay. All right. Yep.
So Micah chapter 1, verses 2 through 7 draws on this event. So like the opening chapter of Micah, the opening verses of Micah is about this specific event. Okay.
Yep.
Samaria, says the prophet, has been destroyed by God because of its crimes of idolatry, oppression of the poor, and misuse of power.
But it wasn't by God. It was by a fucking Assyria.
Yeah.
Like, just why do we have to push every disaster off on God chose this? Like, why would God choose to enlist heathens to destroy his own people?
He did it before.
I know, but I never understood how he can take
of God.
These people that are even worse in his mind to destroy the people that are kind of bad. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. You have the ability literally to change people's hearts. You've done it in the past, in the Bible, according to the Bible.
Yeah.
So why
can't... You could move mountains. Just move the fucking mountain to block them. And protect your people and just deal only with your people.
Yeah. And, I mean... Have a sit down with your people, like go to counseling and get some help for your problems. And,
you know what? I guarantee,
solve this in a really, modern way.
I guarantee if you moved a fucking mountain to block them from an oncoming Assyrian horde, I guarantee you that the people would be like, oh, my bad.
Right.
I'm going to get my shit straight with God now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Make it clear that you are God.
Yeah.
And then make it clear what you want them to do. Not through a human being.
Right. Move a mountain, protect them from their enemies, and maybe make another copy of that book of the Torah and just drop it from the sky into their laps. Boom.
Right.
And
I think that'd do it.
That would do it, right? And you have not said a goddamn word. All you did was you moved a mountain, you dropped a book.
Right.
How you can't do that?
How hard is that, man?
How big are you?
Are you God or what?
Yeah.
What the fuck's your problem?
That's 2 small acts.
Yeah.
For somebody huge. Right? And I mean, let me tell you what, if I'm standing out front and I see a mountain move and then a fucking Bible falls from the sky right in front of me.
I'm whatever's in that book, I believe it then.
I mean, I have to verify, wait, was that actually a mountain moving? Because, now we have airplanes and stuff. So I'm just saying, like, I would still be a little skeptical, but I would definitely be like, babe, we need to check into this because, not gonna lie, I'm a little freaked out.
Look, if the Rocky Mountain Range ended up in my backyard and I'm in Ohio, and then a book fell from the sky and it had rules in it, I'm paying a lot of attention to those fucking rules.
I'm definitely gonna look them up.
I'm
definitely gonna call you at work and be like, you need to maybe call off and come home because we need to talk about this.
Right. Yeah.
Some shit just happened.
Right.
And also there's a mountain in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, blah, 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 tribute, blah, 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 misuse of power. I have to find where I was.
I know.
Okay, so the Assyrian attacks on Israel, which was, remember, the northern kingdom, led to an influx of refugees into Judah, which would have increased the social stresses in the south, while at the same time, the authorities in Jerusalem had to invest huge amounts of tribute and defense. So they were strained so hard. They had all of these incoming immigrants that were different to their ways and practicing differently and were escaping from the Assyrians.
Right.
So,
but also it could have helped strengthen their stance too, because a lot of those people that were coming in that were attacked by the Assyrians probably would have been felt very compelled to fight back against them. Well, to volunteer to fight back against them. Well,
yeah. And like, we were wrong, we should have listened to God, that kind of thing too. Maybe. So when the Assyrians attacked Judah in 701 BCE, they did so via the Philistine coast and the Shephelah, which was the border region that included Micah's village of Morsheth.
Okay.
As well as Lachish, which was Judah's second largest city. Okay.
Yeah.
This in turn forms the background to verses 8 through 16, the next few chapters, the next few verses of chapter 1. Okay. In which Micah warns the towns of the coming disaster. Lachish is singled out for special mention and is accused of the corrupt practices of both Samaria and Jerusalem.
Okay.
In these verses. Okay.
Yeah.
Now in verses, in the first part of chapter 2, he denounces the appropriation of land and houses, likely the result of the militarizing of the area in preparation for the Assyrian attack.
Got it. Okay.
I really appreciated learning this background from a political standpoint.
Yeah.
And a historical standpoint outside of the religiosity of it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah, that makes so much sense. He's seeing all of this militarizing happening right in his fucking backyard. So, of course, he's going to be denouncing the appropriation of land.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
All right. But that's the context of what was happening as he was writing this, okay?
Right. Yeah.
So that was the historical context. Let's move on specifically to the authorship, which I know is your favorite part.
Yes.
Okay? So the formation of the book of Micah is very much debated, even amongst biblical scholars.
Okay?
Like scholars across the board, whether they're apologists or not, are not in agreement about all this. Okay? With a consensus kind of that its final stage occurred during the Persian Empire or the Hellenistic period, meaning when Greece came about.
Yeah.
But uncertainty remains about whether it was formed at the time or merely finalized. That's what some scholars say, but many scholars are like, no. It was finalized during that time. It was like we collected pieces as we went, and then at the end we added a whole bunch of shit and finalized it.
And that would make more sense to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some, but not all scholars accept that the threats in chapters 1 through 3 and chapter 6 and part of 7 are material from the late 8th century BCE prophet Micah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So they're like, Micah wrote the first 3 chapters, which that tracks. And then basically like the end of the book. But the middle part, he did not write. Okay.
All right.
Is what they think. The promises in chapters 4 through 5 and the later part of chapter 7 are generally dated several centuries later from the post-exilic period after the temple was rebuilt in 515 BCE, so that the early 5th century BCE, around that time frame, seems to be the period when the book was actually completed.
And that makes a lot of sense because that would lend the reason to why the prophecies also include the Babylonian exile, right? It just that there's not been a time that we've come across in the Bible where there hasn't been a question as to time of authorship, right? With regard to when these prophecies were actually fulfilled and written about.
Yeah.
So when they're written about, generally, if you're taking into account scholarly, activity with regard to these texts, they're saying that probably there was some interjections at the time or after the time of those other events.
Right.
And
that tracks.
This is going along with that.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move on, I did want to mention one thing about the defense of Jerusalem, because I looked up something while we were doing this, and it says that the Assyrians have a different story to tell about what happened during that time frame.
Oh.
And Sennacherib, the leader of the Assyrians, said that they successfully besieged Jerusalem, and that Hezekiah actually paid a hefty tribute in order to keep them from actually taking it over.
Yeah.
And that's what actually happened.
I kind of remember us talking about those two different versions when we were in 2 Kings.
Right.
So I appreciate you bringing that back up.
No, I thought that was interesting because, you know, in the Bible, we only get to hear one side of it. Yeah. Right. And it's the very heroic side of whatever
even when we lose heroically.
Right.
And blessed be God for our loss.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. So, going back to what you were saying, though, with regard to the book being written at all kinds of different points in time.
Right.
That totally tracks.
Yes.
You know, the first stage was the collection and arrangement of some spoken sayings of the historical Micah dude. So that's going to be your chapters 1 through 3. Okay.
Okay.
Which, like I just got through saying, we all agree he wrote.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So those were his words and we collected them. Okay.
Okay.
So the prophet attacks those who build estates through oppression and depicts the Assyrian invasion of Judah as Yahweh's punishment on the kingdom's corrupt rulers, including a prophecy that the temple will be destroyed.
Okay. Yep.
So that's 1 through 3.
Sure.
The exalted view of Zion in chapter 4, and then the messianic character of chapter 5. You know, he's gonna come.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Those reflect the ideology of the Zion cult in Jerusalem before the exile.
Okay.
So that led me. I didn't quite jump down the rabbit hole, but I was like, underlining, highlighting, I'm sorry, Zion cult in Jerusalem before the exile.
Right.
Hi, cults.
Yeah.
Weren't we talking about cults?
We did. We had a whole series on cults.
Yeah, 3 episodes.
Yeah.
3 or 4 even.
Yep.
I think we had more to say about it.
They were Patreon.
But I think we have more to say about it, too.
Right.
So we might
revisit,
continue.
Sure.
Because we took a break from our podcast over the winter while we were sick and Christmasing and sick.
It's still kind of continuing with some of the breaks in it. Yes.
Yeah. So when we came back, we did a different Patreon episode, just like a standalone, not part of a series. But I was like, let me say that one more time. The Zion cult in Jerusalem before the exile. I was like, oh yeah, we got to go down that. I need to know about a Zion cult.
Right? Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the prophecy was not fulfilled in Micah's time, but 100 years later, when Judah was facing a similar crisis with the Neo-Babylonian Empire, Micah's prophecies were reworked and expanded to reflect the new situation. Like, bold as fuck. We're just saying, that shit got rewrote. Right, yeah. We added to it and rewrote and made it fit.
Like, hey, this is pretty close. Let's make that fit. What's happening? This happened, so let's make it fit. Obviously, he called it, if we just change that word, this word, maybe that sentence, probably that paragraph.
We're not going to change any tenses because that's just way too hard. And, we're just like 6,000 years old or whatever.
What I think is funny, like, it's so funny that they take, like, when you're reading about the apologist takes on these things, right? Uh-huh. They're referencing stuff from certain parts of the Micah book, but you can go back, like, the chapter before and even sometimes the paragraph before and find stuff directly talking about the Assyrians.
It says Assyrians.
Like, he's talking about the fucking Assyrians.
Yeah, you can't just make up what you want him to be talking about to make it fit your little imagination.
But you can, because the Bible is read in verses, not in chapters, not in full, not in context.
Not
you take whatever you want
compared to
from
history.
It. Right. I mean, the way I've always heard the Bible get
thrown out to people is in the context of whatever they want it to be in.
Various verses thrown at you, helter-skelter, put them together and see what you get.
Yeah.
And that is no way to tell a story.
It's not. And that's why I think that's why we felt it was so important to read this from beginning to end.
Right.
Because if you're going to believe so hard in something that is just a book that you have no other context for, but you're only going to believe in it in the small snippets that get thrown at you during church service, what is that? I don't even understand how you can make that your belief, because you don't have any concept of what it is based on.
Right.
And I don't get it. I don't understand that. I don't get it.
I don't either.
Sorry.
Nope, you're fine. I knew you would love that. Couldn't wait to get there. Still later, so after they'd already rewritten and added shit about the Babylonian stuff.
Right.
Still later, after Jerusalem fell to the Neo-Babylonian Empire, the book was revised and expanded again, even further, to reflect the circumstances of the late exilic and post-exilic community. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you go. Okay.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
But it's not Micah that wrote, like, you can't call these people prophets if you change the fucking prophecies. Yeah. They're
not prophecies if you're making the statement that something happened after the fact.
It's absolute bullshit.
It is.
Is what it is.
It is.
So
and you could tell from the way it's written, it doesn't flow. It doesn't go together. You can tell where parts like, whoa, that was a tone change. Oh, okay, I guess we're going to talk about this now.
Right.
Weird.
Well, and I feel like, there wasn't a lot of people that could read back then, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's these scholars, and they're the few people that are able to understand and interpret and rewrite and whatever these texts from their religion. They put it together for themselves. They put it together. They're like, hey, this is pretty close. What if we did this to it? Then it actually matches here.
And then we like it.
And then we like it better, right? It matches what we're... they're concerned about with any culture, you're concerned about your era. Right. You're not concerned about 500 years ago, 300 years ago, 200 years ago.
Rolling in their graves that we're trying to make sense of what they said. And they're like, we had no idea. Sorry. Like, ugh.
No, they're trying to promote their beliefs through historical texts that they have collected. And it makes sense to adapt them to your current state in those times, because you don't have it's not like you can just rewrite what has been done.
Okay, but you
can adapt it though.
Let's not say adapting their beliefs, because not all of them, I think, were true believers. Some of them were motherfucking political grifters.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't just their beliefs that they were trying to make work.
Right.
It was true believers and political grifters working together just like they are today.
Sure.
To staple shit together, to lead the masses, to make it to where everybody at the top gets gold in their pocket.
Right. And moreover, how do we know at this point in history who had the controls at any given time to adapt this Bible for whatever purpose they wanted? Like, we don't know who adapted it. Right. We know that it was. Mm-hmm. But we don't know the people, we don't know their motivations. We can guess at them. Right. We can and try to interpret it. But there were people adapting the Bible as time went through, and it changed the messages.
Right.
So that's not the word of God. No. That's not God doing that. God's not telling them to edit the prophecy.
The apologists would say that it was God's hands leading the people that changed it.
I guess.
They got an answer for everything. That's why they're called apologists.
No, I know. But if the word of God is
infallible,
if it's infallible, then it shouldn't have to be changed.
Right.
It should hold weight no matter when you're reading that text.
Yup.
But apparently it doesn't.
Nope. So let's talk about the actual book itself. Okay?
Yeah.
The book of Micah is nestled smack dab in the center of the minor prophets.
Okay.
Womp womp in the Old Testament.
Right.
It is the 6th of the 12 minor prophets in the Hebrew Bible and presents a message of both judgment and hope.
Right.
I mean, if you believe that shit.
Yeah.
Seemingly written during the 8th century BCE, Micah's prophecies addressed both the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah, condemning their corruption while offering a vision of redemption, blah, blah, blah. Micah serves to alternate between oracles of destruction and hope.
It's funny, that description that you just read with regard to offering hope and redemption juxtaposed by destruction.
Yeah.
Is pretty much the entire like every prophet is the
Bible.
exact same. You give the exact same description for every prophet.
Oracles of destruction versus the hope for the remnant.
Right.
And there'll always be a remnant.
Right.
Because we can't quite stamp everything out. Micah predicts, supposedly, the fall of Samaria, the northern kingdom, in this book, and serves several warnings to the people of Judah.
Okay.
Yet the central theme revolves around social justice, which is interesting and harkens back to Old Testament kind of things.
I like some of those sentiments.
I said Old Testament, but I meant Torah.
Right.
Kind of stuff.
And I like some of those sentiments. Yeah.
He defended the rights of the poor, denouncing their exploitation by the wealthy and powerful elite, reproaching unjust leaders, and calling for them to act with integrity. And there are pictures, if you go online, of protesters who actually have quotes from Micah on their protest signs.
Yeah. I think we briefly touched on that in some other episodes.
Probably, but I just thought it bears repeating. Like, that is very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, basically they're like, hey, I'm a Christian too, and what you're doing is fucking wrong per the Bible.
And I think that a large part of what is, not to get too political here, but with what is going on politically in the U.S., right? And we're here in the middle of the U.S., right? With what is going on, it's going to require people who are religious standing up and saying, no, our religion does not stand for these things. This is not what our religion is
interesting. I was not going to get into this topic, but you led me there, and I have to.
Okay.
There's a big atheist who just recently released a book. I cannot remember his name because I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah.
He recently released a book, and it's about saying that there needs to be more Christianity in Christianity.
Right.
And that is an atheist saying that. And he's like, I'm not calling for there to be an end to Christianity. He's saying, if you're going to be Christian, actually be Christian.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was a TED Talk that I listened to about it. The book came out sometime in the last year. So when I say recently, I don't mean like in the last couple months.
Right.
It was like within the last year and a half, something like that.
Right.
And the TED Talk was even probably about 6 months ago. But it was just so fascinating listening to this atheist describe these Christian ideals that he said agreed with Madison's what he laid out, and they matched exactly the ideals. And he's like, we actually as a nation may not be able to do without Christianity. Again, an atheist saying this, because these ideals are being taught by Christianity and not a lot elsewhere, unfortunately. And so they're falling to the wayside. And our entire system is structured around the whole honesty and, not taking advantage of the poor and, all the things that Micah is talking about here, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like, if you're going to be a Christian, you have to be Christ-like, and we need more Christ-like behavior in this country. And I could applaud that, because I've always thought, I don't really have a problem with Christianity with what Christ is supposed to be. You know what I mean? Beyond the anti-gay stuff and
but there's even some groups that are okay with the gay, right? That's it's a matter of
women's bodily autonomy. Like, there is still stuff, obviously, that some Christians are okay with and some are not. Yeah. And so I'm not trying to say that Christianity is the answer. I'm an atheist. I would never say that.
Right.
But I just thought more Christ-like behavior definitely is a good place to start.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, as far as some of the ideas that are out there in the more liberal aspects of Christianity, it's not a bad idea. Like, that's what I'm saying. I think those people should be more vocal, and it would definitely help because it allows for someone who is Christian to say, like, yeah, I don't want to be an asshole, but I want to be Christian. So there you go. Like, when you're talking, like, to just go straight over to atheism, right? That's too much for some people.
Sure.
Right? At least initially.
Yeah.
And you can't make that leap from Christian to atheism immediately.
Right. And they don't understand how to rewrite their moral code and their virtues to fit that. And they don't understand that it was always you. You had the power all along. You were always wearing the ruby slippers, Dorothy.
But if you can make a compelling case as a Christian as to why you should be more compassionate towards immigrants, towards poor people, towards, whatever the case is, right?
Mm-hmm. Love your neighbor. And that includes gays. And that includes, the unwed mother who is, has 2 kids at home and needs to get an abortion.
It will get more traction that way.
Yeah.
Because there is still a large segment of people who are Christian, and they don't want to switch to anything but Christianity, right? So it's a matter of like edging them to a different version of Christianity. Right. And that's why we need Christians on board to be vocal and to be out there and saying, this is wrong, that's wrong. We need to do things. This is the way things should be.
If you're not going to be atheist, that's fine. But can you at least not be an asshole? Can you be kind?
Yeah.
Can you follow Wheaton's law? Will Wheaton's law is don't be a dick.
Right.
Like bare minimum.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think that there should be a church that says, we're not dicks.
Not dicks. Yeah.
Like on their little
placard out front.
Yeah, their little placard out front.
Yeah. So, getting back, like that was so off topic.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I wasn't prepared for that. I will send you the link to what I listened to because it's a really interesting talk, and I would kind of be interested in checking out the book, maybe.
Okay.
Just as something to look at.
Right.
So I will send that to you to include in the show notes since I wasn't prepared with the name of either. But anyway, Micah addresses the future of Judah/Israel after the Babylonian exile, supposedly. He doesn't, but let's pretend for a minute that he does, okay?
Sure.
Sure. So like Isaiah, the book has a vision of the punishment of Israel and creation of a quote-unquote remnant, which you and I got into.
Yeah.
Followed by world peace, centered on Zion, under the leadership of a new Davidic monarch.
Yeah.
Some kind of Jesus-y dude, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Sounds
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the bit that was sketched in later.
Right.
The people should do justice, turn to Yahweh, and await the end of their punishment. However, where I found this very interesting. Whereas Isaiah sees Jacob/Israel joining the nations under Yahweh's rule, Micah looks forward to Israel ruling over the nations.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Insofar as Micah appears to draw on and rework parts of Isaiah, it seems designed at least partly to provide a counterpoint to that book, which is interesting because both Isaiah and Micah are compared since they have overlapping verses that seem to be repeats of each other.
Yeah.
And so the question was, did one copy from the other, or did they both copy from a similar source, from the same source?
Right.
And yet here we see, but they did have, whereas they had the same message, they also had a separate message.
Right. I think it's important to point this out too. When Micah was prophesying, the Davidic line was still active.
Oh.
It was not defunct at that point.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
That's
so Hezekiah was a direct descendant of David.
Okay.
And so
I forgot about that.
That's an important aspect of what we're talking about because we've already talked about time frames when the Davidic line died off, but in this one it hadn't yet.
I forgot that we went back in time, not just like when the exiles were happening.
Right.
But during the Davidic line as well.
Right, which is why you could almost call this a contradiction. And I'm not trying to get into our contradictions.
No,
episodes,
it's true though.
But like when you're talking about this being a precursor to the New Testament, right? And you're talking about the Davidic line.
He's like, the Davidic line's totally going to rule, my guys.
Right.
And it's like...
the Davidic line was still active at that time when he was writing this.
So he did not know.
Later, it became defunct.
Right. So he didn't know.
He didn't know.
Yeah. That's so cute. Because we're like, oh, that didn't happen, though.
Right.
Aww.
Yeah.
I mean, even, if you say that Jesus was part of that, we're not there yet.
But it's such an important part to Christianity.
Yeah.
Like that Davidic line, right? Like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
But how many people know that it died? That
it literally died.
Line of David died off.
Right.
Right. Like that actually happened.
Yeah.
According to the Bible.
Yeah.
But we go because there's no consistency to when these books were written.
It's very important that we believe that he is of that Davidic line.
Right. And if we're talking, this is a prophet, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about a prophet who is prophesizing
Yeah.
the Davidic line being this thing. And then so they take this bit and they're like, yeah, Jesus is obviously part of the Davidic line.
Right.
Why do we have to make that connection? Because it's later, because we can't have any fallibility. But yet they say also that the Davidic line dies off.
Because it did.
Because it did.
Yeah.
So that is just like a major fuck up in the consistency of the Bible, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree. Like, I'm interested to see how they go back and like pencil him in. Since again, we're not there yet.
And I do think that they go through some like family history or something.
Something like
there's a little bit of a
mom's cousins or something like half sister over here.
I'm sure there was somebody that we didn't know about that still made it.
Oh yeah.
That's what happened.
You know that guy. That guy. We don't know his name. It's only important.
Right.
It's only the whole fucking prophecy revolves around
the Davidic line didn't matter until the 500 years after the Babylonian exile, and then it matters again.
All of a sudden. Right.
Yeah.
Damn Romans. Yeah. So I can't with this.
I can't justify letting 500 years pass and then saying, "Oh, the line's back. Look, Jesus is here. Here's his family history. Look how it came about.
We stapled it together."
I feel like, okay, look, we haven't done enough studying to know this 100%.
Right.
But I feel like that's what happened.
Right.
They had to make this prophecy happen, especially because Micah's prophecy is very pertinent to a lot of the things in the New Testament. They had to make this prophecy true.
Right.
Right?
They had to.
It didn't matter that the line of David died off. We're gonna forget about that. We're gonna move along with this king that's gonna take over and rule wonderfully or whatever.
Yeah.
So
whatever it is that Jesus does.
Yeah. And therefore, they just made it up. They made up a fucking line.
It's so funny how they're so loosey-goosey with his heritage, but, like, when it comes to a mom remarrying or a mom not remarrying and having a bunch of kids, like, we care very much about who's the father and, that's disgusting. Like, we care so much about the specific family line, except when Jesus is concerned.
It's amazing to me how illiterate people who call themselves Christians are about their own religion.
Yeah.
But then have so much judgment about people around them.
Yeah.
And you can't justify your hate unless you actually know where it comes from.
Right.
And you're justifying it not on your Bible, not on what your religion says. You're justifying it on what your peers say about it. You're not justifying this on anything biblical.
Right.
You're not justifying this on anything other than what your pastor is saying at the pulpit and what your friends are telling you to think.
But they'll smugly say, study it out. You just study it out.
Right,
I know the answer. You study it out.
I know without fail that the people that we interact with in our Discord channel, they're more literate in what the Bible says than probably 90% of Christians.
Well, shit, they're
at least
a lot more literate than we are because we're reading it and they have already.
And I would give us 85% more than most Christians, at least, you know? Yeah. Because most of them that I talk to don't have a fucking clue what they actually believe. They don't know what's in their own Bible.
Yeah.
And it's just, how are you so judgmental and you don't even know what your Bible says?
Emphatically wrong.
It's disturbing. It's disturbing.
It really is.
Sorry, I know I'm going off on tangents today, so
That's
I
okay. That's what the wrap up is for. Get it out. Get it out.
Right.
Beyond its theological depth, Micah's writing style adds a unique flavor to his prophecies. He often employs puns. Remember, he was so clever with his dad jokes. Lima's gonna get knocked out by lima beans. You know,
it wasn't that good.
No.
Okay, we'll give it unique, but for the Bible, I guess.
And I keep using Lima because that's a city in Ohio, and it's the first thing that comes to mind for me when I'm thinking of a pun based on a city name.
Sure.
You know, I just whatever.
Right.
Here's a pun. So my ex lived in a town called Eaton.
Yeah.
Which is just west of Dayton.
It is.
And so they're close enough that he would say, I never knew if I was eating a girl in Dayton or dating a girl in Eaton.
My God.
But that's more clever.
Yeah, I guess.
Honestly, than the lima bean.
Right.
Or the buried in dust. Bury your dust your berries.
Right.
Whatever.
But, I can't speak for the time. Maybe it was really fucking clever back then. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, he uses the names of cities to highlight their coming downfall.
Sure.
This literary device not only adds layers of meaning, but also serves to drive his point home with irony and sarcasm. And also because he had that wordplay. We talked about this at the time. It made him, it kind of like cemented his scholarliness. Like, I can make wordplay, therefore I am smart. See, like it was proof of his right to be making these prophecies.
Right.
So I would have done really well back then, apparently, because I love me a good pun and I love me a good dad joke.
Right.
So, okay, the next section I'm calling Micah Gets Around.
Okay.
Because I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
One of the most famous verses, Micah chapter 6, verse 8, has transcended religious circles and found its way into modern legal and ethical frameworks. It's inscribed on the walls of the Library of Congress.
Okay.
It reads, He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God.
And I love that. I love that phrase.
I do too.
That's a great phrase.
I do too. We did just hear on Stephen Colbert that plaque has not been put up yet. Do you remember we were watching a clip on Stephen Colbert?
It wasn't that. It was something for Congress. No, it was not that one.
Are you sure?
Positive, because it was one that was supposed to go up in Congress.
Oh, okay. I thought it was this plaque, though.
No.
Okay. Well, I would like to know what that plaque was.
It was something to do with the immigrants, or there was something. It was something different. That was something different.
Well, I would like you to look that up.
Sure.
Okay. So anyway, this particular verse has resonated throughout history and was cited by figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi, who were inspired by Micah's call for justice and humility. So it's a very good verse. Interestingly, Micah's words echo beyond his own book. Micah chapter 4, verses 1 through 3, which envision a future where nations, quote, beat their swords into plowshares, is nearly identical to Isaiah chapter 2, verses 2 through 4, which we talked about. Scholars debate whether Micah influenced Isaiah influenced Micah, or both prophets drew from a common source, which we just talked about this.
Yeah.
Regardless, this vision of global peace has been immortalized in cultural and political discourse, symbolizing hope for a world without war.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I did look up what you were talking about. It was a plaque that's honoring the defenders of the Capitol.
Oh,
during
yeah,
January 6th.
You're right.
That's all. It wasn't anything to do with the Bible or anything like that.
No, you're right. I apologize. So I was combining two separate things and making them one.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they went together in my head.
A plaque, it's a plaque.
A plaque.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
They only put one.
There's only one type of. There's only one plaque.
They only put one plaque up in Congress and the White House and the Pentagon and all those businessy places of the government. Yeah, the post office, Library of Congress. Yeah, it's all one building, one plaque.
In your mind, sure.
And the Lincoln Memorial with the steps and stuff sits right on top of all of those buildings. The Book of Micah. Okay, just to be clear, I don't actually think that.
No, I know that.
Okay.
But you do have a hard time visualizing things.
I do very much.
You struggle with imagination, actually.
I do.
A little bit.
No, totally do. It's part of my autism in that I cannot picture things. I cannot imagine things.
Right.
Like I have the ability to see images, but only sometimes and only kind of.
Right.
And only when they're all grouped together.
Yeah.
And they cannot separate from each other. The Book of Micah also contains one of the most well-known Messianic prophecies.
Yeah.
In Micah chapter 5, barf, 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 verse 2, the prophet foretells the birth of a ruler from Bethlehem, a passage later cited in Matthew chapter 2, verse 6, as evidence of Jesus Christ's birthplace. This connection between Micah and the New Testament underscores the prophet's enduring influence in Christian theology. Does it, though?
Except that we just talked about how that didn't, because it's also the Davidic line.
I could pick up any book, anytime, and, write to be continued, and then write the next chapter, and, this book, you could talk about, pick up the original and say, this book shows the cross between the time it was written and the time that wife picked it up. And no, it actually didn't. Wife just picked it up and wrote it.
I feel like if this was actually God's word, it would read a lot better.
It would.
Just in general, right? It would make a lot more fucking sense.
You know what? Because I have utmost respect for a deity and his or her or its ability to write.
Right, but any
I have to believe it would do a better job than I would. And I know the job I would do would be damn better than this.
Right. But any religion, any God who leaves up to councils of human beings as to what to put into the book that is going to represent you as a God, you're counting on multiple humans to decide what is the word of God. That's you're starting off on the wrong that's not right. You're wrong right there.
I mean, it all comes down to something I've said multiple times. We cannot even trust 4 different drivers to operate a 4-way stop correctly. And you're telling me that God left it to humanity to get his words correct? Fuck off. That's a dumb God.
Between different religions that are similar, Judaism, Catholicism, and Christianity, and even different versions of Christianity, there's different books that are included or not included. And it's so just not...
I'm sorry, did you include the Quran? Because that's an offshoot as well.
It's less of an offshoot. But it is an offshoot. But
their God is less not the same guy.
Right. But I'm sticking with the Western culture version of God. Okay. And in that version, there's just even in just that version, there's so many inconsistencies as to what humans have decided belong in, and even in which order in these books that represent this God of theirs. Right. And so there's beyond the actual contradictions that are so obvious in this book. There's contradictions even in which books go into the fucking book. I'm like, God damn. You guys could have fucked this up any worse. I mean, you have fucked it up so bad.
Figure your shit out and then get back to me.
Yeah. Like, if there's a God, where the fuck is he? And why isn't he telling us this is the right goddamn book? This is the right fucking order. And read it in this specific way. And you will learn that I am God and there is no other. But no, we have to fight about it constantly and be like, fuck, what is this shit?
And kill each other over it.
Yeah.
I love that part. The killing each other over it is really great.
That just doesn't strike me as a loving God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever. Sorry.
Micah's prophecies even had immediate political effects thanks to Jeremiah chapter 26, verses 18 through 19.
Mm-hmm.
His warnings led King Hezekiah of Judah to implement reforms, sparing the nation from destruction, at least for a time.
Yeah.
So that is the end of our wrap-up of Micah.
Okay.
What did you think?
I think that
This book seemed to piss you off more than some of the others, even though it was only 7 chapters.
It did, because there is so much wrong with it. Because we went from, in one sentence, talking about the Assyrians to the next sentence where apologists are calling this version the prophecy for the Babylonian exile, to talking about fucking Jesus. I mean, like, there's so many fucking things in this book that are just absolutely absurd.
Like, pick a lane.
With regard to how they're taken in current Christian circles, right? And I can't
pick a lane. What are you?
I can't wrap my brain around how much is wrong with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's so wrong. It's so just muddled and bullshitty. And like, we talked about it all the way through this wrap up with regard to, like, you know, the Davidic line died off, but they didn't know that when Micah wrote this. You know, the Assyrians were who he was talking about, but then they rewrote it in Babylonian times. I mean, and then on top of that, you've got the Christians who later just took these fucking prophecies and inserted them into their goddamn New Testament and made them prophecies that came true. It's so absurd how this all just transformed into what is now current Christianity. And it makes me angry. It makes me very angry because I'm reading it. We're reading it, and I'm saying this is dumb, and I can see the problems right here as we're reading it. But yet, there are so many people that believe that this is the ultimate truth, that this is the God that is in charge of all of us, and that there is no other God, and everything is he can't be wrong. And I'm like, my brain's fizzling. My brain is fucking just falling apart reading this book and saying, what the fuck? That's it.
You just ranted a little bit.
I did.
Are you going to be okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I just
it's just usually I'm the ranter.
Right. But there's a lot of things that are just not going right in society today. And I mean that in the sense that there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of, just wrong ideas about, in my opinion, wrong ideas about how to treat other human beings. And it seems to be stemming from some new idea of what Christianity is. So I guess I get really worked up when it comes to these ideas that are pushed forward in the Bible that are so obvious to me to be wrong and inconsistent. And yet they're taken as infallible and the word of God in this circle of Christians who pick and choose what they want to promote in this book. And it just makes me angry. That's all.
I get it.
All right. Well, that was the Micah wrap-up.
It sure as fuck was.
And we will be back soon. I'm not going to say when, because I just never know these days. But we'll be back soon with the
You're Always Wrong,
or the Micah Contradictions episode.
Mm-hmm. And a pop quiz.
And a pop quiz, yeah. So that will be coming up shortly. And then I will get the wrap-up of the replay of all the previous episodes from the last 4 episodes, 5 episodes, or whatever. Done after that, and then we will be starting on a new book of the Bible shortly.
Yep.
So,
and I can never remember. It starts with an H.
Sure. Yeah. That sounds good.
I think it's only 3 chapters.
Okay.
Fun.
Well, we'll see you guys then.
Bye.
Hey, wife. I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.